going on, guys? It's StevieMeeks. We just hit 1 year on the channel. My first video was 1 year ago. Thank you guys so much for making all this possible. It's been super fun making these videos. So I'm gonna have a whole video celebrating 1 year and everything, but I figured I would put out this video before that happens. Every year I sort of want to put together a collection of all my favorite videos and put them onto the end of each other, sort of as like a collection. So that's why this video is so long, but yeah, sit back, enjoy the best moments from the year, and yeah, enjoy the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Alright, so Nintendo over the past few days, in my opinion, have completely shown their hand on the Nintendo Switch 2 release date, and it's coming within 30 days. I'm StevieMeeks. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe, comment what your thoughts are. You can get angry at the comments. Maybe not. Please don't get angry at me. Please don't hate me. Alright, so looking up the upcoming releases, and the fact that it's been the longest gap in Nintendo's history between consoles, I think it's reasonable to assume we're going to get something new hardware-wise from Nintendo. Many are calling this the Nintendo Switch 2. I don't think it's going to be called that, but I'll address that in an upcoming video. Historically, Nintendo has had a Direct every February. This has been true for the past 6 years or so, 7 years, something like that. And, you know, in these Directs, we always get, you know, upcoming game announcements, big game announcements, trailers, gameplay. In recent years, we've gotten some, you know, movie announcements and, you know, their Nintendo Museum, stuff like that. But usually when we're going into a Direct, generally we have an idea of what we're going to get announced. Usually people can predict them pretty well. You know, games that have already been announced, we know we're going to get a trailer for. You know, if we got our trailer already, we'll probably get a release date, you know, stuff like that. But what's different about this Nintendo Direct, if there is one, is the fact that there's almost no new original Nintendo games coming out. Sure, we've got Princess Peach Showtime, which does look pretty fun. And we've got the 2 remakes, you know, coming up. But with Nintendo Princess Peach Showtime coming out in March, you know, what's gonna be in the Direct? So that means we're getting a Nintendo Direct with new trailers on Princess Peach Showtime and the other remakes, right? Well, that's where it gets interesting. So over the past few days, Nintendo has been dumping trailer after trailer for all these upcoming games. I mean, just the other day we got Princess Peach, and this is like within like a week or two of the usual Nintendo Direct window. Why would Nintendo not just, you know, save the trailer for the Nintendo Direct? You know, what's up with that? So, in my opinion, I think that leaves us with 3 options for what this Direct looked like. Either 1, we're about to get a historic amount of new game announcements to carry us through the year. I mean, there's been leak after leak and, you know, dev kits and stuff like that. And it's pretty much, everyone can pretty much agree that we're going to get a Nintendo Switch successor this year. So we're going to need games to hold us through the summer. 2, we're going to get a Nintendo Direct focused entirely on Princess Peach and the other 2 remakes. You know, just gameplay, which in my opinion would make for a pretty underwhelming Direct, but I could definitely see them doing that. They've done that in the past with, you know, just a Direct pretty much focused almost entirely on one game. We could totally see that. Or 3, Nintendo is not going to have a Direct about the Nintendo Switch at all. And all these trailers that are coming out is to get those out of the way. You know, we even got a DLC announcement for Splatoon. I think they're gonna get all that out of the way, and the Nintendo Switch 2 will be announced. I don't think it'll be announced fully. I don't think we'll get a full breakdown trailer, but I think it'll be teased at this Direct. I think at this Direct we're gonna see, we'll probably get a cast announcement, maybe some official Nintendo update about the live-action Legend of Zelda movie. I think we'll definitely get an update on Nintendo's museum. Maybe they'll even go into that museum in depth about the company's history and where we're going, and then drop the Nintendo Switch 2 announcement trailer. So that's what I think. I think all this is going to happen within 30 days. I think this is going to be a pretty crazy month, 30-day period for the Nintendo community. Maybe this is me just wanting the Nintendo Switch 2 here like yesterday. But yeah, we'll see. So if you liked the video, make sure to subscribe, comment down below what you think. If you think this is going to happen, if you think I'm huffing some hopium. Yeah, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. See ya. For the Nintendo Switch 2 to have a solid launch lineup, it's going to need to be very strong on day one. All the big series have to be there. But there's one Nintendo IP that I believe is going to surprise everyone with the splash of its return. Hey everyone, it's StevieMeeks. If you liked the video, please be sure to subscribe. The channel's been blowing up completely over the past 24 hours, so thank you guys all for your support. So with the Nintendo Switch's lifespan being so unbelievably long, I'm sure that they've had ample time to think about, design, and develop the Nintendo Switch 2 on all of its launch titles. I would be willing to bet that they're probably sitting on many complete, well-polished games that they've had plenty of time to be as creative as possible with. I'm sure you'll see all the, the Mario Kart 9 or Mario Kart 8 Deluxe HD Remastered. If we get that, I'm going to be so mad. Potentially a new Pokemon game, and of course the legendary 3D Mario game that'll define the platform. But there's one game series that I'm willing to bet will make its grand return, and that is none other than Donkey Kong Country. Now, before you click away, I think that this game is going to come back in a way that you're not expecting. So Donkey Kong Country has been a series that many 90s kids grew up with back on the Super Nintendo, or some of us who were born a little bit later and played it on the Wii and the Wii U, and even now on the Switch port. Part of what's made that series so beloved is the amount of emotion, the atmosphere, and the ambience that was poured into this game, which, if you think about it, it's like, why is there so much ambient and vibes in a game about jumping monkeys? My very first Nintendo game was Donkey Kong Country, believe it or not. I was playing it on the Game Boy Advance SP. In my opinion, please don't hate me, this is a hot take, maybe, I don't know, maybe other people will agree with me. I think that the Wii U, the Wii, and the Switch versions of Donkey Kong Country were really lacking in this department. Yeah, they were super fun, definitely innovative, but everyone seems to unanimously agree that I talked to that the originals are still the best. They still capture that vibey, that dark and ambient and moody feel that the newer games just don't. I believe that Donkey Kong Country will be a launch title, if not a year one title, maybe a holiday release. But here's my dream for the game. Okay, so hear me out. So what I think will be the perfect Donkey Kong Country game is it'll combine the innovative, modern Donkey Kong Country games with the atmospheric, dark, ambient vibes of the original games that's played as a 2D side-scroller in the style of Octopath's Travelers. So imagine the 3D worlds with that depth, with the motion blur, depth perception, the lighting, the designs, using the pixelated textures with the 2D sprites. That's what I think. I think this would absolutely recapture the original vibes while still innovating on the series and making it new. So, what do you guys think? You'll let me know in the comments if you want to, torch my YouTube channel. If you guys all like the new ones. I didn't mind them. I thought they were fun. I played them with my dad. I thought they were really fun co-op games. I just think that what makes the Donkey Kong Country series is what the original brought in terms of the vibe and atmosphere. I think the new games would be perfect if they just nailed that a little bit more. And I think by doing the Octopath Traveler's art style, I think it would recapture that. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Be sure to subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya. Do you ever just find yourself sitting there when suddenly something really random and profound just hits you? Is water really wet? Is cereal just breakfast soup? What would happen if Pinocchio said, right now, my nose will grow? Think about that one for a moment. Today I realized that Nintendo has been historically creating their consoles in patterns. Every single one of their consoles falls into this pattern, and I think that using this pattern, we can actually predict what the next Nintendo console could be, which I am super excited for. Hey guys, it's StevieMeeks. Thanks for all the love and support over the past couple days. You guys have been really crazy with the super nice comments. If you liked the video, like the video, and subscribing is also appreciated. I also have a Discord server if you want to join. So this pattern starts way back in time, long before anyone hit the gritty, before trick-shotting, before your Nintendogs died of starvation. Way back in time, back when dinosaurs roamed the earth, Nintendo launched their very first home console. The NES console literally saved the home video game market. Google that, super interesting. To follow this console, what did they do? Well, the Super Nintendo.
Introducing the next generation from Nintendo.
It brought two new things. It brought a graphics update, and something about it was doubled. So it was a new console, it was a better console, but it was really still the same console. It was just a little bit better. Okay, next, N64.
We will not live in a two-dimensional world.
This was a totally new and better console. It was not the same by any metric. It completely changed the game, brand new gimmicks and features. It brought 3D graphics as well as having a joystick. Right there is the pattern. So next is the GameCube. Had a graphics update, and something was doubled. 1 joystick to 2, sure it had discs now, but there wasn't anything really new about it. It was just a much better N64. Next in the pattern would be a console that totally changes the game with new features and gimmicks, right? Well, what did we get? We got the Wii. Totally new formula, motion controls. We all love the Wii, right? Totally different. What was after that? The Wii U had a graphics update and something about it was doubled. 1 controller type went to 2 controller types. 1 screen went to 2 screens. And then came the Nintendo Switch, totally new formula. This pattern even carries over to the portables. Game Boy went to Game Boy Advance, then jumped to DS, then to 3DS. We go from substantial iteration to major difference. That's Nintendo's secret pattern for releasing these consoles. So with the Nintendo Switch being the brand new formula in this pattern, I believe it would be safe to conclude that the next Nintendo Switch successor is going to be more iterative than something radically different. So looking at this pattern, Nintendo Switch 2 is going to have a graphics update, which is so massive. That is violently important. And something about it is going to be doubled. Now, what is that? I don't know. If you trust the leaks, it seems like there might be a detachable double screen, maybe functionality similar to the Wii U where you can play on the TV and handheld at the same time. Maybe this time around the dock is going to have a way of like boosting the performance when it's docked, or maybe the screen size itself is going to be bigger. I hear that one going around a lot recently. So whatever the next console is, it's really up to speculation. If Nintendo decides to keep this pattern, we can probably expect a Nintendo Switch 2 and not something totally different. If you guys made it this far in the video, thank you guys so much. These videos are super fun to make. I just love talking about Nintendo stuff. It's fun. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. See ya. Alright, so Mario Kart right now has one problem, which is the same problem as Smash. Nintendo is always really creative, but it seems from my view that Mario Kart 8 kind of has it all. I mean, what could even be next for Mario Kart? Well, I think that there's 3 things that Mario Kart 9 is going to have that's going to make everyone's minds melt with excitement. Hey there, it's StevieMeeks. Thanks for watching the videos. Please be sure to subscribe. Do it. Okay, so if any of you know me personally, you know that my favorite type of game or game mode are kart racers. Bungie, please bring back Sparrow Racing League, please. I've played them all, from Kirby Air Ride to Diddy Kong Racing to Excitebots to Crash Bandicoot. I've played them all, but there's one that stands above them all. It was there before all of them. It defined the kart racing genre in so many ways over the years, and it's left many of its competitors dead in its wake. Mario Kart really needs no introduction. But it kind of feels like Mario Kart 8 kind of has it all. I mean, it's got 96 tracks, it's got a massive roster, and almost all of the retro courses have already returned. Rest in peace, Toad's Factory, my favorite. Okay, so here are some of my thoughts and the 3 things that I think Nintendo can do to make the game the best Mario Kart game of all time. So first, track building. It's no secret that user-generated content can keep people engaged forever. I mean, just take a look at the games like Halo with the custom games maps and the custom games modes, or even games like Super Mario Maker. Passionate fans will take their ideas, make them, and share them with the world. Mario Kart 9 should have this. I mean, imagine this. You boot up the level editor, you see various track builder kits. One for Mario Circuit, one for Bowser's Castle, one for Rainbow Road. You enter the editor, just like Roller Coaster Tycoon, and you can select options to build out your track. Bank left here, boost pad right there. When you're done, you can share it online with your friends, or you could even have a trending page, or Nintendo dev picks, or something to that effect. I mean, all the retro tracks would be remade, like probably within a week by the community. This would absolutely revolutionize Mario Kart. 2, everyone will be there with some new items. So we saw villagers and some of the Zelda characters fit right into the cast of the last Mario Kart. I think Nintendo needs to keep bringing some more characters in, similar to Smash. Now, not every character, but I think just the ones that fit. But characters like Kirby or Ness or Banjo. I think you could even bring in some of the Mario Wonder characters. You could bring in like the Flower Kingdom Toads. You could even bring in the Wonder Flowers, which would be crazy. Could you imagine that? These characters would really liven up the game, but I do think they need to stay away from some of the other characters like the Fire Emblem or Captain Falcon. As much as I love them, and as cool as they are, I think that it could probably mess up the vibe of Mario Kart really quickly. Maybe that's a hot take. I think that this would be so fun. And 3, the long-awaited double dash mechanic returns. I mean, this is the mechanic that defined the Mario Kart experience on the GameCube, having 2 characters on your kart. Now, for those who haven't played it, the mechanic kind of worked like this. So you'd pick 2 characters, and depending on the combination, your stats were different, your acceleration speed, your handling. Mid-race, you could just swap characters for a variety of reasons. You got a unique item that no one else had depending on the combination of your characters. You also could hold 2 items. Now, this came back in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, so I think it would be a welcome return if it was here again. But the items worked like this. So you had 1 item per character. So let's say you pick a banana and then you pick up a red shell. So in any other normal game of Mario Kart, you would have to use the banana first. But in this game, you could swap characters. So even if the item was ready to be used, you could swap it to use the other one. And what was really fun is you could have another one of your friends play as that second character. I think it would be super fun to boot in online to like a random like online matchmaking and just get a random as like your second player, and you have to like swap between who's racing and who's using items. I think this would be so fun. I think so many people would love it, especially since, you know, not everybody had a GameCube, or a lot of new Nintendo fans weren't really around for that. I mean, I barely was around for it, so I think a lot of people would really enjoy experiencing that for the first time. So that's my thoughts for Mario Kart 9. What are your thoughts? Am I way off base? Either way, I cannot contain my excitement for the inevitable return of my favorite kart racer of all time. So, guys, please subscribe. Can't wait to see you guys in the comments. You guys have been super nice over the past couple weeks. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. See ya. One of the main theories I see surfacing online about Mario Kart 9 is that they'll make it sort of a Nintendo kart, meaning they'll pull in Nintendo characters from other series and bring them in as playable characters. A good number of people have their reservations about this, myself included, and rightfully so. We don't want to boot up Mario Kart Online and find ourselves racing next to whatever the heck this is. So, if Nintendo were to do this, who would have the best shot at being selected? What characters or franchises could be represented in this new Mario Kart game? Hey there, it's StevieMeeks. Thank you guys so much for watching the videos. I appreciate all the love and support. I've had a blast jumping down in the comments section, responding to you guys. And thank you guys for just all the interaction, and it's just been super fun over the past week, so thank you guys very much. Okay, so to determine this, I looked at various lists online of Nintendo characters from previous Mario Kart rosters, other Nintendo games, and Smash Ultimate, and organized them into a massive list of characters falling into 5 different categories: best chance, likely chance, a toss-up, unlikely chance, and no chance. Now, to preface, these characters to be on my list have not been in a Mario Kart game before, haven't been in a Mario Kart game for some time, or are a Mario Kart Tour character and we haven't seen them on console yet. Also, keep in mind there's hundreds of Nintendo characters, so there's absolutely no way that I could include them all, so please don't get salty if I missed one. This is just my list. Okay, so let's start with the list of characters that have the best chance. We have Kirby, Meta Knight, King DDD, Nabbit, Zelda and Sheik, Dr. Mario, Captain Toad, Poppins, the Hammer Bros, Sonic the Hedgehog, Rob, Bowser Jr., King K. Rool, Dixie Kong, Cranky Kong, and King Bob-omb. So these are characters that I think most people would agree would fit right into the cast of Mario Kart, especially characters such as Nabbit and the rest of the DK crew, as they've already been in Mario games. I also think characters from the Kirby franchise have that fun and happy charm to them, and most people wouldn't bat an eye if they were in the roster as well. A lot of people that I talk to online that are kind of against the Nintendo kart still feel like Kirby could fit, so I think he would be a welcome addition. Sonic has also been in Mario games before, such as the Olympic Games series, so I think he could work too. Next are the characters that I think have a likely chance. These are the characters that people will definitely be talking about, but I just don't think they fit the best, but I still think they have a good shot of being picked. Star Fox, Falco, Wolf, Pikachu or Pichu, and the Gen 1 Pokemon starters. Stay with me on that one, I'll explain. Olimar, Pac-Man, Piranha Plant or Petey the Piranha Plant, Banjo and Kazooie, Duck Hunt, and the Ice Climbers. Now, the Pokemon pick would definitely be really big, but I think it has the ability to compete too strongly for the attention. You would definitely have to just keep it to Pikachu, maybe the Gen 1 starters as well, since they sort of whole transcend the Pokemon brand and into pop culture anyways. I think if you went any further, people would be unsure if that's a Pokemon racing game or if it's a Mario Kart game. I think the Star Fox characters do really fit, but since there's been a good bit since the last Star Fox game, people might not be as familiar with them. Next, these characters are starting to enter that area that would potentially serve as kindling on the great fires of Twitter. They would be interesting picks to say the least, but I definitely think there are worse characters to include. So we've got Ness and Lucas, Young Link and Toon Link, Pit, and some sort of Pokemon trainer. So these characters, again, I think would be fine if they were added, but I think they could very quickly just turn into those characters that just kind of crowd up the roster screen. Next are the characters that if you got them on your wish list, I really wouldn't get your hopes up. Personally, I think that they cross the brand line too much and might start to muddy the waters of Mario Kart's identity. So we've got Samus, Mr. Game & Watch, Wii Fit Trainer, Sora, and the ARMS characters. As cool as they are, I think they would definitely turn off some of the casual Mario Kart fans. Samus, for example, I just don't think fits or blends in really at all. Now, Mr. Game & Watch would be absolutely sick, but I think outside of Smash, I just don't know how well he would work, especially being 2D, but I mean, I guess they've already done that before. Wii Fit Trainer also wouldn't fit. Sora would fit visually, but same thing, I just don't think it's the right audience, and some of the ARMS characters, though they might be cool, I don't think that they fit. Finally, these are the characters that I think would do a real dent in Mario Kart's brand, and I just don't think they would fit in at all. So we've got the Fire Emblem characters, the Street Fighter characters, and then Steve from Minecraft. Again, these are just my opinions. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments as civilly as possible, please. Did I leave any of your favorite characters out? Let me know down below. I'm gonna hop in there and jump into some conversations with you guys, and maybe there's some characters that I missed out that are gonna be absolutely massive and that they might totally make it. So again, thank you guys so much for watching the videos and subscribing. You guys are great. It's been so fun doing this. It's been about a week since I started properly. I did have an older channel back when I was a kid. That was just more for fun, and I was, just making videos with my friends. But about a week ago, I decided to kind of give another stab at it, and you guys have just blown this channel up way past where that other channel ever got to. So thank you guys so much for your support. And yeah, I guess I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya. Ever since the dawn of video games, we've encountered two primary types of combatants: humans and computers. From Galaga at the arcade to Fortnite today, we've been engaged in battles against these two different types of entities. At first glance, player versus player PvP seems straightforward. Kill, beat, or defeat your opponent. In reality, it's as infinitely complex as the human mind itself, because you're attempting to outsmart another human. On the other hand, player versus environment, PvE, sometimes known as PvC, player versus computer, appears complex, but in reality, the computers are only as intricate as the programming that they've been given. But now, I think we're on the brink of a new era of gaming history, a paradigm shift in the interactions within the digital worlds we love. We've had PvP, we've had PvE. Soon, we might have PvA, player versus AI. Now you might be thinking, we already have AI in games. Sure, we've had it for years. However, I'm not talking about traditional AI. I'm referring to true AI. Something more significant than just an enemy combatant or an ad, or even ChatGPT infused in character dialogue or interactions. Let's dive deeper into what I mean by examining PvP. What makes a player unique? When you enter a game, a digital version of you becomes your link to that digital world, an extension of yourself. You bring motivations, strategies, and unique ideas, the ability to react, problem solve, and think complexly. Your desires for specific items are driven by personal reasons, even if those items aren't even meta. You exist outside of game instances, bringing your motivations and desires and ideas with you. Your inventory holds items that travel with you, even if you log off for extended periods of time. You explore uncharted areas of maps that sometimes don't even make sense, climb ranks for personal reasons and personal satisfaction, and, most importantly, there's only one of you. A computer doesn't possess any of these qualities. Sure, it can problem solve, but it's a reactive and predictable problem solving. It's the reason why cheese spots exist in raids. A grunt from Halo only exists for you to defeat. It lacks motivations, strategies, or unique ideas. there's an infinite number of the same exact grunt, depending on how many people are playing the same exact mission at the same exact time. With AI technology rapidly advancing, I think we're on the cusp of something new. While any game studio could explore this, an upcoming game by Bungie, known for creating Halo and Destiny, might lead this revolution. Before Halo, Bungie created a trilogy of FPS games called Marathon. Marathon's lore deals extensively with the moral ambiguity and the relationship between AI and humanity. Though I'm not an expert on the lore at all, it seems to tell a story of an AI fascinated with its own existence and is obsessed with the ascension to the highest form of existence. This AI is morally ambiguous, frequently using players for its own questionable purposes. The lore also explains that human consciousness can be transferred into cybernetic bodies and back again. These cybernetics were so human-like that in some instances, they seamlessly blended in among the humans. Now picture this. The upcoming Marathon game is going to be an extraction shooter where players, called runners, are going to drop into extraction zones looking for loot and artifacts while facing both PvP and PvE challenges. Again, the players are bringing with them motivations, desires, and strategies. However, Bungie has also confirmed that a long-dormant AI will play a part in the evolving story told through the game's extraction shooter gameplay. I'm just speculating here, but I think that we'll be facing true artificial intelligence. AI combatants identical to players, without access to the game's code. They're individually named, exist in only one place at one time, and drop in to compete for the same loot. They share the same plane of information as us, using knowledge that they already possess and knowledge that they gain through gameplay. If an AI, let's say named Carlbot, please name it something better than that, kills us and takes our gold AR and extracts it, Carlbot enters the next game with the exact same gun. These AI exist only in one instance at one time and continue to exist outside of the game instances. They collect loot, learn map dynamics, fight as a team, and adapt based on their experiences. It'll be the first time in gaming history we'll be fighting AI that we can name, competing for, as Bungie stated, survival, riches, and renown in an evolving, persistent zones. Now, it's important to note that Bungie hasn't confirmed any of this. This is just my speculation on what the future of AI in games could look like. There are a number of red flags that start shooting up in my mind, like what if the AI becomes undefeatable, or game companies manipulating the AI's knowledge to pull certain items and, all of that. But I think one thing is for certain. True AI in video games might become a reality sooner than we think. Now, you might not be able to control being able to beat these AI, but one thing you can control is clicking that subscribe button. Do it now, please. So thank you guys so much for your support. And yeah, I guess I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya. The launch lineup for the Nintendo Switch 2 could possibly be one of the most insane launch lineups we've seen to date. I think the stars are aligning for Nintendo here to have a really strong lineup and a great launch into the next generation of hardware. But are they going to be able to pull it off? I've done some research and I'm going to make some of my own predictions here as to what I think this first year's launch lineup could look like in terms of the first-party games. And boy, if I'm right, this is going to be one heck of a lineup. Hey guys, it's StevieMeeks, back from the grave. Please be sure to like, subscribe, share, and watch this video 15 times so that the algorithm likes me, please and thank you. With the Nintendo Switch being Nintendo's best-selling console, they've been able to extend its life much longer than anyone expected. I mean, can you believe that we're on year 7? And I mean, it's definitely starting to show its age. This is leaving many hopeful Nintendo fans absolutely excited for the next console. Many people are speculating and predicting when the Nintendo Switch 2 will launch, with excellent accuracy by some, if I might add. And boy, if you've been on Twitter, I mean, it's like every day. Nintendo Switch 2 is trending on Twitter. Nintendo threw a wrench in all of the speculation when they recently confirmed that they are going to be announcing the successor sometime this fiscal year, meaning sometime between now and March of 2025. I believe that they're going to ride all the current announcements of all the new games that are coming out to make one last strong final push for the Nintendo Switch 1 through this holiday, emptying out the stock, kind of clearing the table, And I think they're going to give us a February announcement with a summer launch. So I'm going to guess that would be maybe July or August. Now, if you remember, there have been rumors for years about this next console. Even a Switch Pro was kind of tossed around in there for a little bit. But with the Switch selling so well, why would they kill it? Why would they prematurely cut the sales? I believe that Nintendo had already been working on Switch 2's launch titles years ago, waiting for the Switch's sales to slow down to announce them along with their next console. But the sales never did, meaning these games have had a long time to be polished and added to, and I think Nintendo is quite literally sitting on some finished games, all polished and ready to go, making this next launch to be one for the history books. I think some evidence of this is, if you notice recently, most of their games have been ports of Wii U or GameCube or Wii games to kind of buy them some time, keeping the fans happy and keeping the money coming in and keeping this console selling, which it just continues to do. Okay, so assuming that this console comes out in July, here are my day one first-party game predictions. So first, we're launching with Metroid Prime 4. Launching in the middle of the summer is really to get the hardcore fan base into the system first, to get the console talked about, the hype built for the holiday sales, which is where the casual games are going to come in, and it'll let the hardcore fans who tend to be a little bit more forgiving to kind of find all the bugs and give Nintendo some time to perfect some things. Metroid is a cult classic and is certainly going to garner a lot of attention, especially with, how long it's been and, all of that. And if you notice, in the last Direct, when they officially kind of re-announced it with a new trailer and everything, it never really said where it's launching. It didn't say, like some of the other ones, coming to Switch. It just kind of said it's coming. So I think that could be another key detail there. I think it'll kind of be the Breath of the Wild, which launched on Wii U and Switch for this new generation, and it'll launch on Switch 1 and Switch 2. Second, I think we're going to get the Mario platformer right off the bat this time. The 3D Mario games are kind of the flagship for the console, as they really sell the concept and the gimmick of the console itself. Mario 64 sold that it was the first time Mario was stepping into 3D graphics. 3D World utilized the 3D and the new multiplayer capabilities. Galaxy with the pointer and the shaking mechanic. And Odyssey with the pinpoint accuracy of the motion controls and switching between abilities. So whatever this new gimmick is for the Switch 2, I think it's going to launch with a 3D Mario game that's going to showcase its new mechanics. And third, kind of along those same lines, I think we're going to get some sort of tech demo game, sort of like the Wii, we had Wii Sports, and the Switch, we had 1-2 Switch. I think we'll get something along one of these lines. It certainly won't be, but boy, do I wish that it would be a Switch 2 sports game. Something like a remaster of all the Wii Sports, Wii Sports Resort, and Nintendo Switch Sports kind of all put together in the old style graphics but remastered with online capabilities. It's not going to happen. I really have no idea what this could look like because it's going to be all centered around the new capabilities anyways, so we'll just have to see. Now, moving on to the fall, I think we can expect a September release of a Splatoon game, as these have proven to do well. I think it's going to be our fall game because Splatoon games, they tend to fall kind of between the core and casual audience, in my opinion. I just think it kind of fits that sweet spot of kind of attracting the early adopters and also that holiday boom sales kind of as well. I also think in the fall, we're going to finally get that 3D Donkey Kong game that we've been hearing rumors about. I think it's going to kind of launch and serve as the revival to the Donkey Kong Country franchise, or maybe the spiritual successor to Donkey Kong 64. I think we can expect this either as an August or maybe even a September game. All right, so now for the big ones. As we gear up for the holidays, which is where Nintendo sells their most games, I think they're going to unload some really big games to attract everyone. So, September, we're going to get Nintendo's Golden Goose Mario Kart. Mario Kart has proven to be their cash cow. I mean, it has sold over 60 million copies on the Switch. Even up until recently, it's been in their top 10 quarterly selling Switch games, even almost 7 years after launch. And remember, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was a port from the Wii U. So, I bet Nintendo's had this next generation Mario Kart ready to go for forever now. Super polished, super ready to go. And I think it's going to launch in September to kind of get the hype started for the holidays. All right, moving on to October, I think we're getting an Animal Crossing game. Yes, Animal Crossing. I don't think Nintendo will ever be able to really recapture the lightning in a bottle that was the launch of the last one, barring another pandemic. But I think this game has attracted such a large following since the last one that they'll maybe try to leverage that to get people to adopt the new hardware. Finally, moving into the November, December, I think that's where we're going to see our Mario Party. The Mario Party will kind of serve as that holiday game that, grandma can get for her grandkids that she can kind of understand, and it's just kind of easy. I also think that's kind of when we'll see our 2D Mario platformer coming out. All right, so now I know what you're thinking. Why in the world would Nintendo front load so heavily? I mean, why would they waste all of their IP right at the front of the console's lifespan? Well, I think there's two reasons this time around. First, the Nintendo Switch is going to be really hard for many to give up for the casual community. It has all the games you'd ever want, really. I mean, if you think about it, it's got so many ports of so many complete games with years of DLC, and there's just so many Switches out there and so many games. People have totally bought into the Switch ecosystem. They really need to have a strong reason for people to want to start over again. I think I just saw something come out. It was like in the top 10 most played video games right now, 6 of them are over 6 years old or something like that. You got games like Fortnite and Rocket League. I think people are so tired of having to start over on things, and they'd really rather just kind of dig their heels in and enjoy what they have in terms of their games and their ecosystems. They don't like having to start over. So I think that's going to also come into play here. Even if the Switch 2 is backwards compatible, which will definitely ease the pain a little bit, they still need games to outsell their previous games that are slowly losing sales. So I think front loading could really help the first year adoption. And second, since Switch 1's lifespan is so long, and assuming that these launch games have been done for a while, they may even be able to get away with having more games in these individual franchises in the same console generation down the road than other consoles have. I think it's also worth noting that I didn't mention Smash or Zelda either, which I think will help with the year 2 adoption as well. All right, guys, those are just my predictions. Please don't attack me. I don't think this is just hopeful thinking. I think we're going to see most of these. These tend to be the early ones anyways. I don't think they're too far out of the question, but I mean, it's StevieMeeks you're talking about here, so I know he never makes any outlandish predictions ever. Thank you guys so much for watching. Yes, it's been a while since I uploaded. I've had a lot of stuff going on recently. Just lots of life change, and sometimes certain things like hobbies like YouTube just have to take a back seat. I really don't know when I'm going to be uploading next. I've got a lot of things in the works, but it just kind of is secondary right now. But yeah, please make sure to subscribe because I will be posting again. Stay tuned to the community section because I like posting polls there and asking questions, and got some fun feedback and some stuff there that is just really fun. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for more, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out. We need to save Halo, and I think I know how to do it. To my viewers who haven't heard of Halo, boy, how do I even explain it? Halo, the games whose names carry the weight of the friendships, the Friday night split screen, the sleepovers, the midnight releases, and the memories of millions. A game whose legacy and impact cannot be understated. The franchise that brought us some of the most iconic characters, the most moving soundtracks, and the fan base who helped pave the way for early YouTube content. The gaming scene needs Halo. That Halo. Someone has to save the Halo franchise, and I think I know how to do it. Here's my 3-step plan on how I would do it. Halo right now is irrelevant. Its brand image is tainted, and its customer trust is broken. Halo's identity and what made it great to begin with is lost in these newer games. Halo is so much more than the Master Chief, than the battle rifle, the energy sword, and the Covenant. Halo, in its truest form, is a game that gets out of its own way to mean something different to so many people. Halo, at its core, is a game for you and your friends. 343 alienated so many audiences in pursuit of just the competitive sphere that they forgot about the other things that people loved about Halo. But I believe Halo's future is still bright. I think it could come back and be on top of the Twitch viewer charts, to be the game that kids wish for Christmas, the game with the viral TikTok clips and the online chatter. I think Halo's next chapter could be its greatest. If I woke up as CEO of 343, here's what I would do. I would sell it and then give it to me. And here's what I would do. Here's my 3-step plan to save the Halo franchise. Now stay with me on all 3 because it very much is a 1-2 punch type of situation. Step 1, reintroduce the world of Halo in a way that is very fresh and new, but still very, very Halo. Introduce you to my Halo game concept, Halo Skyfall. Real quick though, be honest with me for a moment. If Halo 7 was announced, claiming to be a return to form, and we see the Master Chief standing strong on the back of a pelican or something, would you be hyped? I mean, if you asked me that a few years ago, I probably would have laughed at the question. How could you not be? Now, I'd be highly skeptical that they wouldn't just drag Master Chief back through the mud again. For the first step back into the gaming news cycle since Infinite, Halo cannot ride on its name. Not to mention, a large portion of the Halo fans all kind of agree that Master Chief finished the fight back in 2007 in Halo 3 anyways. In my opinion, 343 has to regain trust before they use Master Chief again. They need to follow in the footsteps of Bungie's last 2 games, ODST and Reach. They need a Splinter game, a game where we can introduce a different angle of the Halo universe through the eyes of different heroes. Not to replace Halo as it was, hear me on that, not to replace Halo, but to bring Halo back into the conversation with Halo Skyfall. This time, you are an ODST, an orbital drop shock trooper. When you first log onto the game, you become a new recruit of the ODST drop training program. Your goal? Become the best, earn accolades, experience, gear, and medals, and aim to become the strongest ODST that the UNSC ever had. How would you do this? Through training in a new ODST training experience that pits ODSTs against each other, learning to train as a squad or as a single soldier. Multiplayer in this game would center around achievement as an ODST. You could look at someone's armor and know that they fought tooth and nail for that gear. Maybe ranked mode would give you exclusive gear tied to that rank. If you deranked, you could no longer equip. Seasonal passes could be available as special timed events, but no item shop. You must earn your respect as an ODST. How would this multiplayer play? As a battle royale. Not a carbon copy of other games, not a Warzone clone, but a very Halo battle royale experience. You would fly over a map, maybe simulating Reach or Installation 4 or whatever they decide in a UNSC cruiser. You drop in your ODST drop pod down onto the map, find gear, loot, and fight with the gear that you can find. Movement would be somewhere between Apex and old Halo, bridging new players and old players. Now, frankly, I'm unsure exactly how this would be accomplished, what the movement would be exactly. I'm all for the return of Halo's floaty jumps and no sprint, but it would have to not feel jarring. One perk of no sprint in the Halo games means that the maps get to be smaller, so I'm unsure how that would feel on a Fortnite-sized map, for example, with no sprint. But I'll leave that balance up to what everyone else thinks. I think this game would do 3 things. First, it would feel totally fresh and new, but also a callback and familiar to Halo veteran players, and to the legacy of what makes Halo, Halo. I mean, come on, how sick would an ODST Battle Royale be? The boys dropping into New Mombasa to train, like the Clone Wars. And second, if it got popular, it would introduce new people into the Halo franchise who may have been too young to experience its golden age. And 3, it would be a chance to meet casual gamers where they are, in a Battle Royale-focused gaming scene, to give them a chance to play a Halo game again that they could dedicate as much or as little time to playing as they want. On to step 2, introduce classic Halo back to everyone in a remaster or remake with multiplayer. Thinking about keeping the legacy of Halo and passing down the torch to the next generation, we have to view it as they probably are. The old classic Halo games are just that, old. Riding the wave of Halo ODST's Battle Royale, as I'm calling Halo Skyfall, this new generation would be excited for the next game, and then we could introduce them to Halo, as it was in its peak, with real Halo, with Spartan Halo. Now, this game could be that Combat Evolved remake that we've been hearing about recently, or it could be a Halo 3 anniversary since we've gotten Halo CE and 2 as anniversaries already. It would be a return to classic Halo multiplayer. No sprint, no clamber, as it was then. Earnable gear, map voting, classic map styling, playable elites, split screen, Forge custom games, Infection. It needs to feel like a celebration of Halo. To the players whose first Halo game was Halo Skyfall or this Halo Battle Royale, this game might feel different, but ideally the Battle Royale would continue on alongside this game, kind of giving them the chance to try both. If this Halo remake did well, it would allow for a lot of online chatter, getting Halo fans, new and old, excited to check it out. And step 3, Halo 7. Now, to be honest, I really don't know what they could do for this game. As much as we want Halo 3 new over and over again, games do have to innovate and change. But this time, Halo 7 would be a reset for 343. We would be going back to the feel of the start of the franchise again. And I think by this point, with 2 successes under their belt and the financial backing of a Battle Royale, 343 would have regained consumer trust, bringing back the Halo fanbase that was once alienated and attracted a whole new audience. At this point, they could either make a new Master Chief, maybe one living in the shadows of Chief, trying to live up to his legacy, not sure. Halo 7 would need to bring back all the features of old Halo that we know and we love, with the new things that they may have discovered in the last 2 games. By doing these 3 steps, I think Halo could be back on top again. First, with the introduction of a Battle Royale experience that is very, very Halo. Second, with a classic Halo remake, either Halo CE or 3. And finally, a new Halo 7. I think getting Halo back on top and back into the conversation, we could all sit back and be proud to say that we're fans of current Halo games. We can turn the page on Infinite and have Halo lead the first-person shooter scene once again. While many of those who were teenagers when the Bungie Halo games were coming out in Halo's golden age are mostly grown up and stopped playing games altogether, I am sure that many of them will return, and I think we'll all smile to know that Halo is back on top once again, rightfully where it belongs. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. My name is StevieMeeks. If you like this video, be sure to hit that subscribe button, like, and share with your friends. This is an open conversation. Please let me know in the comments what you guys think. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I miss Halo. I grew up playing Halo. It was really the game. I mean, me and my friends, we would just play Halo. That was the game. It was Halo and Minecraft. And I'm just dying for it to come back. It would be so fun for Halo to be the game again, you know? Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya. I think Super Mario Maker was one of the smartest ideas that Nintendo ever had. Super Mario Maker! Just the idea of finally allowing us to live our dreams of crafting our own Mario levels, and on top of that, share them online, both with our friends as well as our favorite YouTubers. It was genius. When Nintendo dropped this game, it kind of felt like Nintendo listened. Imagine that. It's like they said, yeah, that's a great idea. Here you go. Also, let's give you even more. Fun fact, I was featured in a Dashi video one time for a level I made.
Oh no! I see you, Steven. Oh, don't start!
It's so fun making impossible levels for your friends and family, trying out fun, creative, and diabolical ideas. Mario Maker 1 and 2 were really awesome games. So, what's next? With both of these games having been decently popular, I think that the next logical step would be for Nintendo to step beyond just allowing us to make 2D Mario games. To not just make Mario levels in 2D, but also in 3D. A game where Nintendo fans could create 3D Mario levels, worlds, and maps, and share them online with their friends and favorite content creators. In the current 2D Mario Makers, you can create Mario levels in various art styles and mechanics inspired by past Nintendo 2D Mario games as the base. Super Mario Bros. 3, Super Mario World, New Super Mario Bros. For the Wii, etc. So for a 3D Mario Maker, you would be selecting from the 3D Mario games. Super Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, Mario Galaxy. I think Nintendo should really make this game. I think it could even be a Game of the Year contender, but I think honestly it would just be really fun. We could all finally create the Super Mario Galaxy 3 game that we all know deep down Nintendo never will. Just the idea of making my own Mario Galaxy levels has both me and my Nintendo Switch's processing power gasping for air, but we'll remain hopeful. So let's break down what Super Mario Maker 3D could look like. One of the mainstays of Mario games is that there's a variety of different themed levels. The grass levels, the desert levels, the water levels, the Bowser's Castle levels. In a 3D Mario Maker, each of these levels would be their own kits. Then, similar to current Mario Maker games, you'd have a toolbox of different terrain pieces, decorations, enemies, switches, doors. You would go crazy and build whatever kind of level you want, with different elevation changes, with hard-to-reach items and power-ups and coins. You would then pick where Mario would spawn and where the star would go. Simple enough, right? Well, here's where things could get interesting. It's no secret around here that one of my favorite game series of all time is Halo. My friends and I used to hop on their map creator called Forge together and collaborate on maps. We did the same thing in Minecraft. There's something really fun about building together, and I think if Nintendo Switch 2 could handle 3D world creation with multiple people at the same time, it could take this game to the next level. Imagine you get your whole friend group together working on different levels at the same time, and then come together at the end to make a hub world. At its core, the hub world is a space where the players could navigate between levels, similar to how the old games used the map system. We all know and love the hub world from Super Mario 64. It's an idea that's carried on from many games to come, such as the Isle Delfino or the Comet Observatory. It's also home to some of the best soundtracks that Nintendo has ever made. I mean, I could just listen to the Comet Observatory on repeat for ever. Mario Maker 2 introduced a similar ability to be able to share a collection of levels attached to a customized overworld map. I think they should keep this feature for the 3D Mario games, but just take it a step further. I think it'd be super interesting to see players be able to create their own Peach's Castle, their own Comet Observatory, to hold a variety of levels that they and their friends had created. I mean, think about it, you could design your own full game. You like desert levels? Make every level in the game out of sand.
I don't like sand.
What about a whole castle of water levels? I mean, you might be a psychopath, but you could do that too. Or an entire game centered around boss fights, or recreating other video game levels entirely. The ideas are just endless. Once your hub world is full of your custom levels, you could share it online. Once shared online, all across the world, people will be able to play your levels and worlds and share them with their friends and rage about them on Twitter. You could see how long it would take people to beat certain levels, like a leaderboard system in the Mario 2 Maker games. But sharing levels online isn't anything that would be new to this game. But here's what would be. Suddenly, we would have an endless supply of 3D Mario games to play, made by the community. We would be able to try out our own crazy ideas and see if they work. YouTubers could have their communities create levels and assemble worlds for them to be played on stream. Not only that, it would give Nintendo a chance to see what types of levels and mechanics, and even what type of player experiences the current players truly enjoy. Being able to share entire 3D Mario Maker games would be really cool. So on this channel, I tend to come up with some really outlandish ideas and dream games and turn them into hopeful YouTube videos to see if other people share the same dreams for future Nintendo games as I do. Is this game likely to come out? Well, I'm unsure. I think Super Mario Maker 64 is probably the most realistic. If they went all the way up to a game like Odyssey, I think they could run into some problems where people maybe are preferring to play community Galaxy games rather than buying the new game. So I think there would need to be a clear line of separation, maybe just to Mario 64 or maybe just Mario Sunshine. There might also be a level cap so you don't have, 80 levels shared in this massive game that would take, 50 hours to beat. Don't get me wrong, I want Mario Galaxy Maker more than anyone else. But is that realistic? I'm unsure. I also think it's worth noting we would need a significant hardware boost to be able to live render and recreate full 3D levels in a Mario game just on your Switch, especially if you add in doing it with multiple people at the same time. Nintendo is always great at optimizing and working under hardware limitations. But again, a hardware limitation is a hardware limitation. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe has some of the greatest tracks of any Mario Kart game, which begs the question, which ones are going to return in Mario Kart 9 as retro courses? I played every single track that's unique to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and ranked them in order from least likely to return to the most likely to return. To be on my list, it has to be a track that made its debut on Mario Kart 8. And this is just my opinion, so I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comments section below. Okay, so let's start with the tracks that I think have no chance of returning. In dead last, we have Bone Dry Ruins. Ironic, the theming is about dead bones. Personally, I don't get the hate for this track, but I rarely see people vote for it when I play online. I think overall, it's just generally uninteresting, and when you look at the rest on my list, just about every other track is more exciting. In 24th, we have Ice Ice Outpost. I personally enjoy this one, but does it belong higher than Mute City or Rainbow Road? Mario Kart 8 Deluxe has so many good courses that tracks like this one that are just alright don't have any chance of returning anytime soon. And at 23rd, a little bit of a hot take, I brace for impact from the comments section as I say, Sweet Sweet Canyon. While this track definitely screams Nintendo, it's certainly just not as fun as the other tracks. And I rarely see people vote for it, and when we're considering at most 4 slots for Mario Kart 9's retro Switch tracks, I think this is really far down the list. Okay, so to wrap up our no chance section, these tracks are really fun, but personally, I think the only chance they have of returning would be if there was another booster pass for Mario Kart 9 that allowed even more tracks than just the 4 that we're trying to pick here. Okay, so moving along to the tracks that I think have an unlikely chance, although they have more of a chance than the last 3, I still think they're unlikely to return. At 22, we have Dragon Driftway. Overall, I think it's fun, it just doesn't seem to have that following and that excitement around it that you kind of need to get a whole track to be brought back. I really don't hear about too many diehard fans of this track, and it's usually voted against, at least in my personal experience. At 21, we have Mario Kart Stadium. This track, although it's really good, has one problem. Usually retro courses will have 1 or 2 Mario Circuit type tracks. So this track is competing for an even smaller slot. So as good as this track is, it would have to directly compete with some amazing other Mario themed tracks. At number 20, we have Water Park. I wouldn't be surprised if this one came back, as it's pretty recognizable. But similar to my previous thoughts on the Mario themed tracks, there is another water themed course I'll mention later in the video that I am sure would be picked before this one. Coming in at number 19, Twisted Mansion. I'll admit it, I think this one's really fun, especially that opening room, it's so cool, and it's super iconic, but I think it's much more likely that the Mario Kart DS Luigi's Mansion will return than Twisted Mansion, given the new Luigi's Mansion game. At 18, we've got Super Bell Subway. I think overall this one's fun, but when you look at the other courses in the next category, I feel like this track just kind of shies away from being as likely as they are. And finally, at number 17, Thwomp Ruins. Now this one I was so torn over if I wanted to add it to the toss-up category, but again, there's just way more tracks that are much more popular. The tough thing with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is that all the tracks are just amazing, so it makes it really hard to rank this one any higher. So to wrap up our unlikely chance section, these tracks are fun, but don't contain as much aura as the next category of tracks. I cannot believe I just said that. But that is my official take. Okay, so now things are going to start to get really competitive. From here on out, there's going to be tons of hot takes and surprise picks. One of these tracks, I would personally wipe off the face of the planet, and I have a story to tell you about that. For these next 6 tracks, they belong in my toss-up category. These are tracks that are popular, but the ones that people would not vote for in the presence of some of the other tracks that we'll get to in a minute. At number 16, we have Mario Circuit. This track is super recognizable as a track from Mario Kart 8. Not only is it on the front cover of the Mario Kart 8 version for the Wii U, but it's literally an 8. It pretty obviously showcases the Mario Kart 8 Mechanic 2, which adds some points. However, it has the same issue as Mario Kart Stadium. It's a Mario Circuit, so it's a super competitive slot. At number 15, I have Mute City. This track is awesome. It's one of my personal favorites. Mute City, when talking about the potential for a return, has one problem. It lives in the shadow of another F-Zero track that has a much higher likelihood of returning, but you might be surprised where I rank that one. At number 14, Bowser's Castle. I think this Bowser's Castle is really fun, but in my opinion, I think it's much more likely that the Nintendo DS Bowser's Castle will be chosen for Mario Kart 9, as it hasn't been redone yet. So as good as this Bowser's Castle is, I think it makes it tough to put it any higher on this list. At 13, Wild Woods. Now personally, I don't really like this track. Many people seem to enjoy it and vote for it. I mean, it's unique, it's different, and it showcases Mario Kart 8's mechanics well, so it's at number 13. Number 12, Hyrule Circuit. This one was incredibly hard to rank, and here's why. If Mario Kart 9 turns into a Nintendo kart and opens up the gates to bring in more Nintendo IP, I think this course goes much higher on the list of the likelihood to return, as it's a Zelda-based track. However, if Nintendo doubles down on keeping it just Mario, I think this track belongs lower than Mute City, for example. So I averaged it out and put it in number 12. And finally, at number 11, Clown Top Cruise. Yes, you heard me correctly. I have a personal vendetta against this track. Every single time one of my favorite tracks comes up and Clown Top Cruise is another option, everybody votes for it in mass. It'll be like Yoshi's Circuit, one of my favorite tracks of all time, and people will just spam Clown Top Cruise. It's popular, I'll give it points for that. But overall, I hate this track, and I alone will stand at the gates of top 10 and keep it from entering. So in review for the toss-ups, any of these could definitely make their return, and I wouldn't be mad, except for one of them. One of them I would be very mad. If you've made it this far in the video, thank you so much. Be sure to like the video if you like the video, and subscribe, and make my Discord server way less lonely. Okay, so now it's time to get into the tracks that you've been waiting for, the top 10. This category, the likely chance, contains the next 6 tracks that I believe have a really solid chance of being selected to enter the limited slots of the retro courses in Mario Kart 9. Coming in at number 10, Animal Crossing. This track is simple, has great music, and has a really unique theme of the different biomes, and is overall just a blast to play. I also think with the wild success of New Horizons, it could really be a selling point for Switch 2. Coming in at number 9, we have Rainbow Road. I think this is one of the best Rainbow Roads ever made. The reason why I think it's more likely to return is because it clearly showcases and celebrates the mechanics from Mario Kart 8. It's almost like a celebration of what makes Mario Kart 8 what it is. Not to mention, it's literally on the box art. Plus, we have so many other Rainbow Roads on Mario Kart 8 Deluxe that I think it would be a chance to freshen things up on the next game. Coming in at number 8, Dolphin Shoals. This by far is the best water-themed track in the game, and not to mention, has one of the best saxophone runs of all time. What a banger. This track is always one of the top tracks voted for in my public lobbies, and I think it provides a fun, new, and refreshing take on the water levels. Number 7, Shy Guy Falls. This track is easily one of the most unique tracks in the whole game. It feels so dangerous and exciting, flying up and down the waterfall, jumping across the various gaps. It also has a surprisingly high skill ceiling too, which is always fun for those ultra competitive games. Plus, it's fun hearing those Shy Guys go to work. You know, it's crazy to think about how when we drive on this track, we're just actively getting in the way of the Shy Guys trying to make a living. Number 6, the Electrodome. This track changed me. Now, I view my life in 2 eras. My life before seeing Koopas get down to some EDM and a giant interactive audio visualizer that provides some of the best gameplay, most fun multiplayer moments, and a digital piranha plant headbanging, and my life after seeing it. This track also has a lot of recognizability, so people would immediately know it was a Mario Kart 8 Deluxe track. The only thing keeping this track from being higher on the list is it sits in the shadows of some of the greats. And finally, to wrap up our likely chance category, Toad Harbor. This track, simply put, is just awesome. Wall riding, split paths, fun music. It's Mario Kart 8 Deluxe to the core. So I put this track at number 5. It's finally time to rank the final 4 tracks, which I'm sure contain some of your personal favorites. These are easily the most voted 4 tracks online, the 4 most popular, and in my personal opinion, some of the best tracks that Nintendo has ever created. These tracks have the best chance. Coming in number 4, Big Blue. The soundtrack alone is one of the best songs that Nintendo has ever created. It produces such an intense vibe as you fly down one of the most winding, twisting, and elaborate tracks in Mario Kart history. The whole track is zero gravity, which is the flagship mechanic of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Nintendo would be out of its mind to not bring this into the next Mario Kart game, so I rank it at number 4. At number 3, we have Excite Bike Arena. This track on paper should not work. It's a circle. It has 2 turns. And it only has 3 laps. I mean, at least Baby Park had 7. But for some reason, this track is one of the most fun and one of the most popular tracks in Mario Kart 8. It creates such a false sense that the track is going to be easy just to make it one of the most chaotic maps in the game, especially when you add in all the items. It just doesn't get much more Mario Kart than this. Excite Bike Arena is my number 3. In second, Sunshine Airport. This track is just incredible. You start out inside of an airport themed around Super Mario Sunshine with some fun world building signs like Galaxy Air. You fly out of the tarmac, wind through some luggage and open airplane doors just to find yourself on the runway where you take off next to an airplane. It's one of the most memorable and fun tracks in the game, making it my pick for number 2. And finally, the track that I believe has the absolute best chance of being in Mario Kart 9 as a retro course, representing the Nintendo Switch and Wii U generations of Mario Kart that went on for over 10 years, Mount Wario. In my opinion, this is the best Mario Kart 8 Deluxe track, and one of the greatest tracks of all time. Jumping out of the largest helicopter you've ever seen, to fly down multiple sections of a mountain containing ice, caves, a dam, a forest, and an Olympic ski slope, this track is just legendary. It's always the most voted for track, and all the lists I find online have it in their top 3, if not in first. I think this track has the absolute best chance of returning on Switch 2 for Mario Kart 9. So, what do you think? How would you rank these tracks? What changes would you make to my list? Let me know down in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. What will Mario Kart 9's Nitro tracks be? I did some research and imagining and created my comprehensive list of 16 fantasy tracks for the 4 Nitro Cups that I think could make it into Mario Kart 9's launch lineup. And if you stick around to the end, I'll even give you my predictions for 4 crossover track ideas using some other Nintendo IP. One of them, I really hope we get it. So let's start out at the easiest, the Mushroom Cup. For the first track, we have Mario's City Circuit. The first track in every Mario Kart game has historically been a circuit-like track. Some games it was Peach's Circuit, while others took a different route, like Mario Kart 8's Mario Kart Stadium. This time, I think we're gonna get that track themed around New Donk City from Super Mario Odyssey. Something simple, fast, and racing through the city. Maybe something similar to New York Minute. Okay, so moving on to the second track, we have Lake Lapcat. This one I think could be super fun. Imagine a track themed around the cat-like islands from Bowser's Fury. Racers would be island hopping, dodging obstacles, and utilizing the different islands in the water. I think it would just give a really refreshing and vibrant feel that would feel like a fresh take on the water levels. On to the third track. This one's a little bit of a curveball. Honey Queen Hiveway. This one sounds different, but hear me out. I'm sort of thinking of a track built off the idea of the honey levels from Mario Galaxy. Maybe there would be honey that would slow the characters down, or maybe you're drifting on the giant bee. That would be the most cursed Mario Kart level ever. Now, this won't be the only Galaxy referenced course in my list, so stick around for that one. And the final track in the Mushroom Cup, we have DK Dig Site. This track would be super simple and nostalgic. It would be a 3D representation of the original Donkey Kong game. It would sort of have those classic red beams, sort of offering a unique aesthetic that pays homage to Mario's roots while still feeling fresh in the context of a Mario Kart game. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to the Flower Cup. This is where we're gonna have some slightly more challenging courses, but nothing too crazy. The first track we're going to start out with is Winding Wonderway. This track would be absolutely wild, completely themed around Super Mario Wonder. It would take you through zany and whimsical locations from the Flower Kingdom. I'm imagining lots of interactive elements, similar to Mario Kart 8's Hyrule Circuit. Maybe the track would change when you find the Wonder Flowers. I mean, just imagine having a Wonder Flower in the game to just completely change the track. I mean, your options are endless for what you could do for this one. Second track, Toadette Pier. I placed this track in the same spot in the same cup as Toad Harbor to sort of create a part 2 or a sister course. I think it'd be kind of fun to see a part 2 track. Think of this as a sunset pier or an Atlantic City feel, not really beach themed. Something more like a romantic stroll on the pier with gorgeous visuals and all that kind of stuff. This track would sort of feel like a Sunday drive. This track would be simple, but I think it would be really fun. Okay, third, we have my personal favorite, Kamek's Enchanted Forest. This track would be wild. So Kamek's signature ability is his magic. The magic can do a variety of things. I mean, it can shapeshift, it can make things appear and disappear, or even enlarge or shrink. What if there was an entire forest centered around this idea and a track that runs right through the middle? Certain ramps or platforms appearing and disappearing, maybe even entirely fake sections of track. There could even be puddles of his magic on the ground where you take a random effect. If you drive over it, maybe you get a speed boost, or maybe it could invert your controls temporarily. Kamek's Enchanted Forest would be an absolute standout. Nintendo, if you're listening, please make this track. Please. And to close out the Flower Cup, we have Penguin Slideway. So you remember Cool Cool Mountain from Super Mario 64, where you race the penguins down a variety of slopes? I would love a track themed around that. A track where the main obstacle is actually the penguins that are racing down the track next to you. We did have Mount Wario, which is similar to this idea, but the difference here is that the track would be focused on the penguins. Maybe there are groups of them on the sidelines cheering you on or throwing snowballs at you. I think it'd be super fun to have a track where the NPCs are racing with you. Okay, so now on to the Star Cup. This is where things are going to start to get really interesting, as the tracks are going to start to get really challenging. If you've made it this far in the video, thank you so much. Be sure to like the video if you like the video, and subscribe, and make my Discord server way less lonely. Kicking it off really strong, we have Toad's Puzzle Park. We all know and love Captain Toad. I think it'd be fun if we got a track focused around solving puzzles. Maybe whole sections of the track are dependent on hitting switches for shortcuts to open, and what better Mario game to theme this track around than Captain Toad? Second, we have Funky Island. Funky Kong is one of the most fun, unique, and boisterous characters, and one of the most underutilized. I mean, we rarely see him. Whenever we do, he's quickly a fan favorite. So what if we gave him a whole track? I mean, he loves surfing, so what if it was something related to that? Third, we have the Comet Observatory. Starting off at the Star Festival, players would race across the Mushroom Kingdom, headed towards Peach's castle, with star bits raining down on them. By the time you get to the castle, you take a warp star up to the Comet Observatory for the final leg of the track. And to finish out the Star Cup with a bang, we have Bob-omb Blastway. This track can be only described as chaos. The track would be a literal bomb factory. The whole track would be littered with explosions, with timed openings, and a sense of a ticking time bomb. Maybe the track is poised to explode and you have to get out before it does. Okay, moving on to the most challenging cup, the Special Cup. And just a reminder, after these 4 tracks, I'm going to share my thoughts on 4 more tracks that Nintendo could use for crossover tracks. So starting out, we have Lakitu Sky Circuit. Now, believe it or not, I actually had to look up this character. I hadn't heard of him before. People were telling me that he's a character that appears when you fall off the map in Mario Kart. You guys are falling off the track? Lakitu's whole thing is saving us from falling. So, what if we designed a whole track around that idea? The whole track would be designed for you to fall. I think it'd be a super fun track to have it totally themed around not falling. Second, we have K. Rool's Treasure Trove. Imagine a track completely treasure-laden and the pirate theme from the Donkey Kong Country series. Twists and turns with treasure chests and jumping from pirate ship to pirate ship. I think this track would be super fun and a totally fresh type of track that we haven't really seen before. Now, these last 2 tracks are going to be no surprise, but I think they could actually do it kind of differently this time. The Bowser's Castle, I think, should be totally themed around Bowser's Fury. Maybe the whole track is sort of that black and white, chaotic look that Bowser had in the Bowser's Fury game. Something really grungy and new. And maybe instead of it just being rock music, it's like actually heavy metal. Imagine heavy metal music with Bowser Screamo. And finally, Rainbow Road. Easily one of the most iconic Mario Kart track types that there is. Frankly, I didn't really know what to do with this one. Since there have been so many Rainbow Roads before, it kind of makes you wonder what they could do next. So here's my thought. What if we just took the best parts of each of the Rainbow Roads and tacked them onto the end of each other? Sort of like a Rainbow Road Ultimate. So maybe you start out with the iconic big deep slope from Mario Kart Wii to then land on a platform that takes you on the loop-de-loop from the DS, for example. I think it'd be really interesting to see sort of a mashup of different Rainbow Road tracks. As promised, here are the 4 dream tracks that I think could be good for crossovers. First, Pokemon Safari. Imagine a track set in a safari environment where you pass through a bunch of different biomes and encounter all sorts of Pokemon. It would be so fun. You could pass through like a grass area and maybe like a little aquarium where you see Piplup, or maybe through a scorched earth kind of area and see Charizard. I think it'd be a super fun way to sort of incorporate both racing and Pokemon. Second, Inkopolis. There's no doubt in my mind that this would instantly be one of the most popular tracks in the whole game. I mean, the potential for creativity here is just insane. I mean, imagine the ink splotches around the track for players to avoid. I'll be honest, I've only played the first 2 Splatoon games, so I don't know too much about what the current Splatoon scene kind of looks like, but I think it's just super obvious from just the Splatoon world itself that there's just endless ideas here to totally keep things fresh. Third, Kirby's Dream Land. This one speaks for itself. I mean, a Kirby track would totally fit right in. Now, what I think would be super cool is if they did a 1-to-1 remake of a Kirby's Air Ride track. But I think even a Kirby in the Forgotten Land track themed something would be great too. Something colorful and whimsical. It just Kirby all the way would just be a fun track. And lastly, Spaco's Speedway. If you've ever looked at the map on Switch Sports, you can clearly see roads connecting all the arenas. So why not turn that into a course? You could have players drive through the open doors, jump over the volleyball courts, splash into the Chambara arena, and even drift across the soccer field. I think this track would be really fun. So, what do you guys think? What would be some dream course ideas that you have? Let me know down in the comments below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Nintendo Switch 2 will be an online gaming juggernaut. At least, that's what I believe. And I have 3 reasons why I believe that to be true. Reason number 1, I want you to look at this graphic and tell me what you see. This is the current list of retro systems that are available as a part of Nintendo Switch Online. What about them and their console's history do you notice? And really, what do you notice about the consoles that have yet to be added? Nintendo DS, 3DS, Wii, and Wii U. Yes, even the GameCube, if you can believe it or not. Every Nintendo console that has been made that has not been added to the Nintendo Switch Online was a console that had online capabilities. I think that Nintendo is planning to bring this era of Nintendo games back online in an official capacity on modern hardware. And why do I think this? Well, believe it or not, the answer to this question can actually be found in the latest release of Nintendo Music. Nintendo saw quite literally billions of people listening to their songs on YouTube. Nintendo didn't make any money from this, as these songs were ripped game files and not released in any official capacity. They looked at this situation, and rather than saying, man, Nintendo fans want to listen to our music, we should capitalize on this. Instead, they started playing an endless game of whack-a-mole, trying to take down all the YouTube videos of their music. And eventually they learned their lesson and provided a way for us to listen to their music. So what does that story have to do with Nintendo Switch 2's online? Well, recently, the Nintendo Wii has been completely popping off with soft mods, allowing for online capabilities to return. Thousands of people have been digging up their Wiis, changing the DNS number in the settings, and are now able to play Mario Kart Wii online again, since the official servers are no longer available. Nintendo, now hopefully having learned their lesson, have a choice to make. They're at the same crossroads as they were with the music. Do we go after them for creating false servers to play online? Or do we see a need in the fan base and see that as an opportunity to give them what they want? Man, all these problems just come down to Nintendo, just give us what we want, please. The second reason, Nintendo, across the board, has been experimenting with new online features, seemingly expanding, growing, and stress testing their online capabilities. Nintendo, for the longest time, has never been known for their online gaming experience to be, well, polished. It tends to be laggy, buggy, and, well, just nowhere near the experience of their competitors. I mean, try playing online Fortnite on your Switch, and then go play it on your PS5, and you'll know exactly what I'm referring to. It's just crazy. But Nintendo is clearly trying to work on this. And how do I know? Because they just jumped headfirst into the deep end of online gaming. Out of all the game archetypes that exist, which one would you consider to be the most taxing on the servers? Would it be battle royales? Maybe fighting games for the need for precision? Neither one of these come close to the stress of something like an MMO. Having tens, sometimes hundreds of players in one combined space, close proximity, working together in a shared world. What does this have to do with Nintendo? Well, do you remember that super secretive online playtest thing that Nintendo did a few months ago? That game is rumored to be an MMO. That is, if you've seen the gameplay. Whether all those leaks are true or not, this game is clearly testing online features. The other key here is that Nintendo already confirmed that the Switch 2 will be announced in the next couple months, so that pretty much confirms that this new game that they're testing will not launch on Switch 1, but that it'll be on Switch 2. And the third reason why I believe that online capabilities will be the quote-unquote gimmick of the Switch 2 is that what else could it be? If you ask just about any Nintendo fan what they think the next console should be, just about everyone is going to say that they just want a better Switch. Plus, if you look at Nintendo's release pattern of consoles, the next console type in this pattern would be an iteration rather than a revolution. I made a whole video about this, feel free to go check that out. So, if we were to attempt to make a better Switch, there's really only a few options at our disposal. The most obvious one is power, and I think it's a given at this point that we'll be getting more power. I mean, the third-party developers might riot if Nintendo doesn't give them more power to play with. But more power and more power alone won't be a strong enough reason for people to upgrade off the best-selling Nintendo home console of all time. It has to be something new, something exciting, and I think that Nintendo Switch 2 will have a web or an online ecosystem that's so exciting and fun that people will want to be a part of it so badly that they'll upgrade their system to the Switch 2. So, what do you guys think? Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Do you remember these guys? The Miis? In recent years, it sort of felt like Nintendo's forgotten about them. But what if I told you that they might be coming back bigger than they ever were on the Wii on the Switch 2? And I have 3 reasons why I think this is actually not only just possible, but likely. Also, please subscribe and join my Discord, please. For those of us who have been under a rock for the past 20 years, let me give you a quick lowdown on who the Miis were. Making their debut in the Wii era, the Miis were customizable avatars that represented you in Nintendo games. They were super simple, but completely and totally full of charm. They showed up everywhere, whether it was boxing in the Wii Sports games, or becoming inflated and morbidly obese in the Wii Fit games. Or, my personal favorite, seeing the horrifying abominations that haunted the Check Me Out channel. Admit it, you made at least one of these guys. They weren't just avatars, they were your avatars. Whether you made them look like yourself, your grandmother, or some cursed potato with eyes, they added a layer of connection that most games at the time just didn't have. And let's not forget, the Miis weren't just stuck on the Wii. They popped up in the 3DS with things like Street Pass, and on the Wii U with Miiverse, and even on the Switch, buried deep within the settings. Somewhere along the line, Nintendo pushed them into the background, and I think Miis deserve that spotlight again. But is this even possible? Would Nintendo really do this? Is this just me being hopeful? Probably, but I have 3 reasons why I think that this is actually possible. The first reason, Nintendo Switch Online. Right now, one of the consoles that we're waiting on the most to come to Nintendo Switch Online for retro games is the Wii. Another really popular one is the 3DS that we're waiting on as well. But let's just take a look at the Wii for a second. Imagine that it did come back. Would they have a game in NSO for making Miis? Would the Mii channel come back as a game? Or would we just be stuck to going into the settings to create our characters for the Wii games? Or maybe they're just going to attempt to avoid that problem entirely by not bringing any of the Mii games back. But that's kind of impossible. I mean, imagine the Wii without the Miis. You would lose Wii Sports Resort. You'd lose all the Wii series games, which are really the games that not only sold the most, but are the games that people remember the best. If they're gonna bring back the Wii on Nintendo Switch Online, somehow they're gonna have to make the Miis more prominent than just the settings. So if my theory is correct, and the reason why NSO hasn't added the online consoles, which I made a whole video on, so you should check that one out. Maybe it's because they're waiting on the Miis to come back in a more official capacity to be able to handle the 3DS and the Wii games properly. Moving on to the second reason, let's say that the Nintendo Switch 2's main feature or gimmick is online connectivity. If it is, it's probably pretty likely that they would revive Miiverse or something similar to Miiverse. At a minimum, it would have more features for messaging and engaging with your friends. Things like sharing clips, gameplay experiences, or even party chat systems. We would need profile pictures that would represent us on something similar to Miiverse, right? I think the Miis could step into that role, allowing us to be us in the Nintendo Switch 2 ecosystem without allowing people to, well, upload profile pictures. We can all see where that would be a problem. And do you remember the online playtest thing that's rumored to be some sort of MMO from what we saw in the leaks and videos? What if this has to do with the Miis somehow? What if it's some sort of MMO that would involve the Miis somehow, or something to that effect? And the third reason, which maybe I'm alone in this one, it would bring back so much personality to Nintendo again. I absolutely love the Switch. I think it's a great console, it's super simple, and it gets out of its own way and allows you to play the games. But sometimes, the things that I miss about the 3DS and the Wii was just the menu music. The Miis would be a great way to bring back some personality into the new Nintendo Switch 2. Will Nintendo bringing back the Miis feel like they're going backwards? Like they're trying to revive some old thing that no one really remembers, or just old people remember? I'm 25, I'm not that old, okay? Well, I don't think so. If you noticed, at the tail end of the popularity of the Miis, it started going from games like Wii Sports and Wii Party to games with the Miis in the title, like Miitomo, Miiverse, and even Miitopia. The Miis now can stand on their own apart from the Wii's name, so they could bring back an entire Mii series of new games using just the Mii name. So what would this look like? Well, let's start with the obvious, a revamped Mii Maker. It would have insane customization options. I'm talking new hairstyles, finally, outfits, maybe even custom animations, or a deeper emoji-like expression system. I think they would make a focus on making them not as static and try to make them feel even more fun and alive and reacting than normal. Taking it a step further, there could be a new Mii Plaza, a digital hub where your Mii can hang out with your friends' Miis. Maybe they can explore and play mini-games passively, similar to the ones we saw in the Street Pass games. Maybe it can sort of be like a Tamagotchi type of thing. It would be like a virtual Nintendo theme park. Keeping in line with the connectivity, Mii's had this special ability to be able to connect generations, especially now. A lot of us would have a blast from the past revisiting the Mii's, whereas new players could see it as something new and fresh. It'd be a perfect bridge for Nintendo to bring in even more people into the Switch 2. One more thing to note here is this could be me being totally unable to grow up and just want the Mii's to return. So, here's my pitch. The Mii's aren't just a relic of the Wii era. And in a world where online gaming can sometimes feel disconnected, the Mii's could be a perfect way to bring it back together with the new Switch 2 online connectivity features. So what do you guys think? Am I way off base? Am I losing my brain? So thank you guys so much for your support. And yeah, I guess I'll see you guys in the next video. So the rumors were true and the Switch 2 is here. We just got the reveal trailer a couple hours ago. This trailer dropped while I was at work and I was geeking watching all the reactions and responses and breakdowns. So that's what we're gonna do here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna watch the trailer. I'm gonna sort of react to it as we go. And I'm gonna break down all the information that I think is really interesting, some things that I've seen people not really talk about. So let's just watch it, react to it, and break it down as we go. All right, whoa, the red screen. All right, so confirmed it is a Nintendo console. Got that confirmation here. I think this was really smart to start out by showing the original Switch. That's their biggest challenge going into this, is differentiating between the Switch and Switch 2. Okay. So this is one detail I think is really important. We have a USB-C port on the top now, which means that we can finally play charging while it's in tabletop mode, which is really big because a lot of people were having a problem with that on the original Switch, having to like choose to charge it or play it on tabletop. So that's a really nice new thing we've got going here. I like the new texture too. It's sort of like a new interesting texture. This is nice. I mean, I don't really play tabletop, but for those who do play it, that is. These, okay, so notice there's no C. I don't know if the C was omitted for the trailer, but the C button does not have a C. So this remains to be seen what exactly that is. Okay. I gotta say, I am not a big fan of this pink-ish salmon, but you know what? It's okay. It's probably not going to be the only color. I think it was really smart of them to put the black Joy-Con in this trailer so that when you see them side by side, you can clearly tell this is Switch 2. One of the big like identity things about the Switch was the colorful Joy-Cons. So I think it was really smart to sort of have the inverse, where like the parts that were black on the original are the color now. I think once it comes out and once sort of the like understanding is that this is brand new, I think we'll see a lot more color options. And I think this like exterior will be different colors as well. I love this blue. That's so nice. And notice there's like, there's not just one button here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. So it looks like we have both triggers available for the Joy-Con play now, which is pretty big. Oh man, joysticks confirmed. Okay, so this is really interesting. It's like there were a lot of stuff about them being mice. I don't really know if that's likely because then it would like only work in tabletop mode. But notice the center where that little sensor is like hovering. Only the top and the bottom are touching the ground, which is interesting. And then the other thing is there's a button here. Like you could say maybe that's the Joy-Con release, but then there's this like other trigger here, which is kind of interesting. And the other thing that backs up the mouse being a possibility is look, just press that keyboard really loud. It's hollow. So that's kind of interesting as well. Oh man, it's so pretty. I really like the color on the inside. I think that looks so nice. That is just super satisfying. Switch 2. I honestly can't believe that this is the title. I really didn't think it would be Switch 2. I thought it would be Super Switch. I made a whole video that got dunked on by a lot of people saying it wouldn't be Switch 2. Looks like everybody else was correct and I was incorrect, which never happens on this channel. I am always correct. So nice. Okay, so this is the biggest piece of news for me. Like the most exciting part, the new Mario Kart. And there's a lot here to look at. I mean, this could be a whole video on its own. That dock is so nice. Let's just go back to Mario Kart real quick. Okay, look at this. The first thing, that's 24 slots. Now that could just be, you know, for decor or whatever, you know, doesn't have to be like a 1-for-1 thing, but that's 24. That is super exciting. I wonder if it'll be maybe not like the Grand Prix mode will be 24 characters, but maybe it'll sort of be like a, you remember how Switch Sports Bowling had like that like Battle Royale mode where you had to like be in the top whatever percent to like move on to the next frame? I wonder if it'll be like that, where there'll be like a 24 character race online and like you might end up doing like 12 laps or something, but like every lap people get knocked out. So I don't know, that could be kind of interesting. Also notice these barriers here could just be the design of the track. You know, it just could be the track's design, but I wonder if this is a hint at like the Mario Kart Tour type of tracks, where maybe this time like the actual Mario tracks, not every lap will be the same, or maybe it's just for this track. I don't know. I'm just so excited for this. Also, again, maybe I'm reading this way into this too much. There's Mario Kart TV. So that's kind of cool. I like that they're bringing over that. And man, these characters look so good. It just looks so good. It almost looks like a mashup between like the old Mario from like Mario Bros. Like 3 era and Mario Wonder. And also this car looks like the those arcade cabinet Mario Karts, doesn't it? I think it looks so good. Yeah, and of course we got the new Joy-Con holder, which looks so nice. That looks so fun. Like the Yoshi-shaped restaurant. That looks like Radiator Springs, doesn't that? Look at that. 2025 release confirmed. And this is another big thing here, if you notice. It's backwards compatible, which we knew, but it has both physical and digital backwards compatibility, which is really interesting. And I think the second line here of like some of them not being fully compatible or whatever, I think this is probably Amiibo, or not Amiibo, Labo, because that would get really challenging. I think most things will be compatible. I think most things will be, if not everything. And then, yeah, so we got the Direct here. This is probably where we'll see all of our games, maybe some of the other colorways. But yeah, overall, very excited. I think this was a really good reveal trailer. I think it set the tone really well. It kind of set the record straight of what this thing's actually going to look like, which I think is really big for like, the leaks. Stops the firestorm. So yeah, I will see you guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'm very excited to see what you guys think. I mean, this has been many years coming. Yeah. I'll see you guys in the next video.